Hello and welcome to Where You're Not Entertained. I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And we're going to be talking about Coming to America, the number 2. So this is the second one, not the original.
Yeah, not the clearest of titles when spoken aloud.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for making that title very convoluted.
Right. Clever or lazy?
Yeah. It's up in the air. It's cleverly lazy. How's that?
Yeah.
It's beyond the regular lazy.
Totally.
You
fair.
had to think about how lazy you were going to be.
But this seems to be very on trend to revisit a classic or classic series 20 or so years later.
30.
We've seen that a couple of times recently. So
Yeah. With Bill and Ted and
Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob, yeah.
Hell, even Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade
That was a
Runner,
few
yeah.
years back, but
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, it's I guess it's a trend. It's not like it's done a whole lot. Like it's hard to reach back into movies that were actually deemed classics at the time and go, yeah, the same people still exist and they're doing stuff. So,
And they're
or they'll
willing
take
to
a
do
property
this.
and totally change it, like Fantasy Island.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or even
exactly.
Jumanji.
Yeah,
Jumanji, yeah. Well, and those are fair, right? Because they are in the same realm, but they're continuations that don't necessarily involve the people that were in the original.
Yeah.
So it's a little
Mostly.
different than like this or Bill and Ted, even Blade Runner 2049. So when you get something like Fantasy Island, it's like, yeah, it's completely different. Jumanji is completely different.
Yep.
They didn't have a choice. So
No. But I thought that this was really fun.
yeah,
I'm
that
not
is
gonna-
exactly how I described it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that this is a great movie or anything, groundbreaking or
Yeah,
super out there, but it's really fun. It was a good time.
it was fun, and it was incredible to see the entire band get back together. And it did what nostalgia's supposed to do, where you go, "Hey, I remember when they did that thing," and it was enjoyable. Was it painfully transparent? Yes. Every single character, the moment you're introduced to them, you know what they're about, and you know what's going to happen at the end of the movie. I was right every single time. And that's not because I'm some genius. Everyone who listens to the podcast knows that is the complete opposite of the truth. But I still figured it out immediately. And so, yeah, I would not qualify it as a good movie, but I would call it a fun movie.
yeah. I don't, unfortunately for it, I don't think it's going to be quite as quotable as the original.
Agreed.
So I don't think it's going to have that same kind of pop culture effect that the original had.
Yeah.
But I do think that, especially this much later into it, that they did a really good job of still kind of keeping the same feel.
Mm-hmm.
That can be something that's kind of difficult to do. But,
It's
I
a
think
lot
that they
easier
did
when you
really
get
well.
that many returning cast members.
And also when a chunk of your cast members play multiple characters.
Also
Well,
true.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's pretty easy.
You've got Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall playing 4 different roles each.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's much easier for them to keep the same feeling for those particular characters. And also that's really unique.
I don't know. It's probably really hard to embody a character that you played 30 years ago.
Yeah.
They're professionals.
Well, and I just mean it's
Fair.
probably easier to keep the same vibe on it, having the same
Yeah.
actors, at least I think partially they can remember what they did or things like
and
that.
Any mistakes you just take as, oh, well, that's the character changing over time and find it genuine. Whereas when it's recasted, you always have that feeling of like, oh, that's an interpretation of the character.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
And they were also very good, speaking of transparency, about just owning the whole thing. That this is a sequel no one asked for many, many years later of a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a whole scene devoted to that. And I appreciate that because I think sequels or things like this are infinitely more fun when the cast just embraces it and doesn't take it too seriously.
And self-aware as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
kind of gives me Shrek 2 vibes in that way.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what made it enjoyable. I think that, so first of all, the first movie isn't really super serious. It's not it's not a drama or anything.
No,
it is a comedy.
1980s comedy, yeah.
Yeah, and so coming in with this and them being able to kind of not only be aware of what they're doing, but also play that comedic role with it as well is just kind of something else that made it a little more enjoyable. Because they didn't take themselves too seriously about trying to make it something that it's not, right? You don't have to go, we're going to make this 50 times better, and let's make it, I don't know, whatever. Fireworks in every scene. Or
right. And also sort of fortunate to have a classic to build on that wasn't super problematic in today's cultural climate. They didn't have maybe a lot of the harmful tropes or things like that. They had some. That's the nature of a comedy, especially an 80s comedy. But it didn't feel like they had to clean it up a lot or update it to fit current ideas.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of did to a degree with the changing of the laws. By the way, we're going to spoil everything.
Yeah,
spoilers.
Yeah. But at the same time, because the original was a pretty heartfelt and sweet movie, it felt natural in this.
Yeah, and the first one was kind of based on the same changing of the laws thing, just for a different law.
Exactly.
So it definitely fit the same evolution, just a different king.
Right. Yeah, a continuation
the son becomes
of
the father.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It was just fun to watch. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting it to be bad, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be as enjoyable as it was, I guess.
Yeah. Which kind of surprised me too, because I didn't find it as funny as I was hoping. Like there were some jokes where I laughed well, but there was other jokes where I was like, that's kind of cringy. But I still enjoyed it the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that having Jermaine Fowler sort of come in as your new lead
he was great.
His long lost son. Yeah, he did amazing for this particular role, and he was really funny. And Kiki Lane was great.
Awesome.
This was another, really good role for her.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting role for Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
I loved that.
It was great. And he got beat up too.
I know. I was for a second there. I was like, is this going to be a Wesley Snipes movie where he doesn't beat somebody up? And he didn't.
Yeah.
He almost did.
No, yeah, almost. Before he got beat up.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But he actually fit really well. The character fit really well.
Oh yeah.
And I like how they tied him in. They brought in his sister. They brought that back.
Uh-huh.
And she's still barking.
She's still hopping on one foot and barking like a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though the dance number to introduce his daughter felt super overdone. It wasn't, because that's exactly the same thing that happened in the first movie.
Yeah.
So you get the sense that that's just what they do. That's their family thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Just ridiculous dance numbers.
Yeah. It's how you introduce folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally
was-
it does kind of break it for me in movies when they do that, because it's quite common in comedies nowadays, but it did feel fairly natural.
Yeah. And it was updated and interesting to watch, I guess, with all the different dancers and things like that. That
Exactly.
kind of left it more entertaining and not just like, ugh, here's another song in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and here's another set of rituals to become the prince, because that's something you see pretty frequently as well with these long lost relation, whatever you want to call it, sort of movies.
Mm-hmm.
He had his trials, but they were funny and they were sort of unexpected. And I mean, learning the history, sure, but getting the whiskers of a lion,
Yeah.
it was funny.
It was
I
fun.
had a good time watching it.
The Friskies advertisement.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, it works.
Yeah.
Even
Take that,
lions like
McDonald's.
Friskies, I guess. Yeah, exactly. McDowell's.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if they actually got a McDonald's sponsor
in order to be able to do that.
Well, yeah, just to kind of as intentionally as like a play on it, because McDonald's is still highly advertised in this because they're ripping off McDonald's. So every time they mention that or show that, it just reinforces, oh yeah, I want a Big Mac.
Right.
Oh, I think we both said that whenever he made the ice cream.
Oh yeah.
You made the McFlurry. Yeah.
The McFlurby or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Hey, I want one of those.
Yeah, exactly. We put our toppings on the bottom. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I like that they kept with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really anything in this one that was in the first one that you were like, oh, I wish they had
Brought that back.
Yeah, it was in here pretty much. It was pretty much all in here. I can't really think of anything other than like the maybe the slumlord for the rooms that they rented or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, they had the barbershop, they had the McDowells, they had the family. I mean, everybody in the family was there except for
They did not have the Soul Glow guy.
They didn't have. Yes, that's true.
He was missing, but I think that was like the only.
He wasn't
character
missing. I don't think anybody cared that he wasn't in it.
The only reason I thought about that is I did see some articles saying that he was the only noticeably absent character from the first.
Well, why should he be in this one?
Right?
He got dumped.
The jilted ex. He has no place here, but
Yeah.
they brought all of it back. The Reverend,
Soul Glow,
the singer.
The Soul Glow posters and stuff were still up.
Yeah, the product's still in the barbershop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Reverend, yeah. All of the old characters that they played, that Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy played, were in there. Yeah, they did a great job of playing those multiple roles as they do. It's kind of what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So they are very impressive people. the two of those guys.
Yeah, great to see Eddie Murphy back after a decently long hiatus from acting.
Mm-hmm.
But
makes you wonder if he just got bored or if they just offered him that much money and he was like, all right, fine.
Or it might be the project.
It could very well be.
You have a beloved movie like that and you get the opportunity to get everyone back for it. Like, you don't say no to a moment like that because it's just so impossible to happen in Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah.
So
no, that is true.
That's one of those do it now or never, because a lot of those people aren't going to be around much longer to make that movie.
Right.
Yeah. That is very true. But overall, yeah, I would say I definitely, not a great movie, but I definitely enjoyed watching it. And I'd probably watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Fun.
definitely fun.
Yeah.
Also, not the kind of movie that you really have to do a whole lot of paying attention to. So if you like folding laundry and watching a funny movie, that's a good one to do it with.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to have to go, wait, what happened? And rewind it like 4 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have to do that, then you haven't been paying attention at all.
Honestly, if you didn't hear what happened, just wait 5 minutes. They'll say it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think it was a little interesting that the sequel, this one, has a higher Metacritic score than the original.
That's interesting.
Much lower fan score, but
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Eddie Murphy was in his prime when the original came out in '88, but I think he wasn't quite the just legacy star that he is now.
yeah, he was just starting that,
Right.
building
And-
that career.
Yeah, now he's a classic, and so is Arsenio Hall and all of the other actors in this. I mean,
yeah,
it is
let's not forget James
incredible.
Earl Jones.
I've heard of him a few times.
Yeah. Who's
Yeah.
that
You
guy?
know, one of the greatest actors of a generation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wesley Snipes, we said, was awesome.
Yeah. And a bunch of new talent, which is cool.
Yeah. Tracy Morgan. Leslie
Tracy
Jones.
Morgan, yeah. Yeah,
It's good stuff. They even got Morgan Freeman.
John Amos.
Trevor Noah.
Yeah, they did have Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
That was great.
Yeah, and Trevor Noah was just basically a Coming to America arised version of himself.
Yeah.
But no, it was really fun. It was a good time and plenty of additional celebrity cameos where you just wonder, did they offer or did Amazon ask? And they were like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun.
Right. You mind
I have
being
a
in this
feeling
movie
it
for like
was-
3 seconds? Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, right. I think that's more of what it was.
That would be my guess.
I'm glad they got to do it, and I'm glad we got to watch it.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I'm also kind of glad I didn't spend $5-10 to go watch it at the movie theater.
Fair.
Yeah, that is fair.
So, was there anything else y'all wanted to cover before we get into favorite scenes?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
It was because I just loved this scene so much. There's not really any good reason for it, and so I figured I'd go first because it might not be that long. It was the last scene when they're introducing the prince and his wife. Just because I got to see Wesley Snipes dance in a kilt. And that may, even if the rest of the movie had been not fun and enjoyable to watch, I would have been happy I watched the whole thing for that.
Just for that moment.
Yeah, that's
It
fair.
was wonderful. Plus the fact that he gets beat up and then Mika talks to him and suddenly he's just cool with everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
did they do any explanation? I didn't catch anything.
No, there was no explanation behind that.
I love that.
They had a
They're just like, the
conversation.
biggest problem with the whole thing? We resolved it off screen. Who cares? Dance party. That in and of itself kind of represented the whole movie for me. It was so weird that is what changed a warlord's mind. And suddenly he's best buddies with everybody that he was about to go to war with. And
yeah.
he's wearing a kilt and dancing, and I love it. It's so strange and
He did say that
Inexplicable.
that he lifted the what did he call it? Burden or a curse, whatever, from his sister. She no longer has to to hop and bark like a dog.
Oh, huh.
So maybe that was part of the. If you listen to that, maybe that was just part of the negotiating, part of the agreement there.
It's just part of the reason why she deserves to be the leader.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I had no doubt in my mind from the beginning that Mika was going to be the one who was the leader. And, I mean, King Akeem has the capability to change the laws. That's part of being king.
You're king. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the exact same line as from the first one. The queen just wasn't there to say it.
Right.
No, she wasn't. Sad.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
But yeah, that was my favorite scene.
Good choice.
Good. Yeah.
Simple but fun.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes in a kilt. How can
Like
you go
this
wrong?
movie.
Simple but fun. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
In a nutshell.
All right, let's go for you, Rachel.
Woo. All right, so I'm going to pick a scene that is also simple and fun that maybe doesn't count, but I loved it because I laughed very hard. It is the credit scene where John Legend is singing the song from Court to introduce your bride-to-be.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so funny to me because it's just this idea that John Legend was just like, maybe he just filmed that sitting at his own piano in his house and sent it in.
I'm pretty sure.
It's like, here's my tribute to this movie. I loved it.
It's like filmed on an iPhone or something. He just put it up on a stand over his piano and played and sang. It was just like, here, can you use this in the movie?
And the actual irony is that it was like a $70,000 production to do that one 30-second recording.
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny.
And an extreme waste of money, but it would be funny.
Right.
But yeah, I just thought that scene was so much fun. I don't know why I found it so much fun, but yeah, there's something about hearing kind of ridiculous lyrics like that from someone so talented at singing. It just cracks me up every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That was a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
True.
There's my choice.
Kind of in line with the way that I chose mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. What about you, Daniel?
I guess I'm going to be boring.
Choose a real scene.
Yeah. I mean,
lame feelings.
Exactly. No, my scene was when Lavelle was he wasn't doing it on purpose, but ended up kind of eavesdropping into Akeem and General Izzy's conversation. When Izzy is
when he found out that
when he's basically congratulating him on finding his long lost son and using him as a pawn.
Right.
And kind of the look on Akeem's face where he was like, is that really what I was doing? That is kind of what I was doing. Now I feel bad.
Right.
He was kind of having that realization that
I did do that. That wasn't nice.
Yeah, well, he wasn't, because that wasn't the purpose, really. It was, the original purpose was to kind of keep the kingdom together, right? To stop there from being any sort of war or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much, should I be focus on being a husband or a king first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's, he hears him and then takes off. And that's how we finally get to the end of the movie, where you have the realizations and the trip back to America for the second time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and it's just kind of the moment where he's being congratulated by a vicious warlord, and he's like, well, did I really do that? Yeah, I guess I did. and kind of has that moment there. And I kind of appreciated that they did that, as opposed to, I don't know, him finding out another way, and then there not being really that recognition and just running off, because he had to run off, right? He had to go.
Yeah.
He had to run away with his bride so that it
That
can
was
tie
definitely
in
gonna
with
happen.
the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I like how they did that. I appreciated how they went about doing that reveal to him.
Yeah, instead of having the two of them fight
Like
when
have a
he
fight and then
admits he doesn't want to marry the Izzy's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than the just really plain, I'm your parent, so you do what I say, and I don't want to because I'm the kid.
Yeah,
Traditional.
exactly.
Well, that's just so tropey.
I'm
It's
stealing
nice to
your
have a little
jet.
bit of variety here. A
Right.
bit more nuanced way to sell the same story.
Yep. And
I
I
like it.
appreciated it.
That's a good scene.
Yeah.
It was a really good scene.
So there.
All right. Well, then I think that just about wraps it up for Coming to America, the sequel.
Yeah, let's not even.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully you enjoyed our podcast and our coverage of the movie as much as you did the movie. Fun, but simple. If you did, then please go online and like and subscribe, and make sure to join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?